السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. معكم الأستاذ ماهر أبو سرحان من رياض ومدارس جامعة الزرقاء ثانوية البنين قسم اللغة الإنجليزية. Welcome my dear students. Allow me to thank you all for your for contacting me all the time and preparing your homework and being in touch in our group, in our video on YouTube channels and even the Facebook page. Thank you so much, all of you. Okay. So today we are going to discuss the past perfect, which will be on pages 79 in your student book and page 70 in your workbook. Okay. So the date is Thursday. The day is Thursday and the date is 23rd of April 2020. So my dear students, open your book, page 79 in your student book. Tamam. On the other part of the class would be the workbook, page 70. So let's start with the first exercise, the Explore Corner. Read the text. Look at the verbs in blue. Did these events happen before or after the man called the radio station? Okay, so here we go. Listeners to a radio program in Chicago were very surprised when a man phoned the program and said that he was a bank robber. At the beginning of the program, the presenter had asked listeners to call in and confess to any small crimes they had committed. يعني المذيع طلب من الناس أن يتصلوا يعترفوا بأي جرائم عملوها أو اقترفوها. The man described the crime exactly. 5 months earlier, he and 4 other men had gone to a bank in Chicago and had stolen $81,000. A woman who worked in the bank had also helped in the robbery. The man was obviously very proud of himself. He didn't give his name on the radio, but police later discovered the man's telephone number and arrested him. So if you go back to the previous question, did these events happen before or after the man called the radio? The answer, they happened before. تمام؟ طيب. Now, since we talk about the past perfect, الماضي التام، إنه متى بنستخدمه وليش؟ تعالوا نتعرف على بعض الاستخدامات. Let's look at the usages of the past perfect. First of all, let's consider the first point here. We form the past perfect with had or hadn't زائد or plus the past participle. يعني بنكون الماضي التام باستخدام had أو hadn't إذا نفي وراهم ال past participle. هاي أول معلومة. Number 2. We use the past perfect to talk about an event that happened before another event in the past. يعني اثنين حدثين صاروا بالماضي، واحد قبل الثاني، اللي قبل هو الماضي التام. When the police arrived at the house, the burglar had escaped. لما الشرطة وصلوا كان الحرامي خلص هرب. So this is the past perfect and this is simple past. طيب. Let's consider the second example. I was sure I hadn't met him before. I was sure I hadn't met him before. The third example. Had she already left the house when you phoned? Okay. Let's take more details. Let's see that this is the timeline اللي هو يعني الوقت أو الزمن. This is our moment. This is now. And this would be the past. And the action that happened before, we call it the past perfect. يعني, for example, the robbers had left the bank, the police arrived, which means after the robbers left the bank, the police arrived, or we can say before the police arrived, the robbers left the bank. إذا بنسميه الماضي التام أو أنا بحب أسميه الماضي البعيد لأنه صار أبعد. دائما نستخدم had زائد التصريف الثالث من الفعل. Let's consider this example. When the police arrived, look, the robbers had already, يعني كانوا خلص صاروا مخلصين، حدث صار في الماضي البعيد. Okay. Let me give you more details about this tense. The past participle of regular verbs يعني التصريف الثالث من الأفعال المنتظمة is the same as the past simple اللي هو we add only ed يعني finished, phoned, studied, chatted. يعني هذول الأفعال بعد had بضلوا زي ما هم، يعني بنحط لهم ed بس. But sometimes irregular verbs have the same past participle as the past simple form. يعني هو قصده هون مثلا let's talk about teach، الماضي منها taught والتصريف الثالث taught. catch caught bring brought تمام. وبعضهم بيختلف، يعني go went gone buy bought حكينا عنها see saw seen تمام. طيب مرة ثانية بحب أقول الفعل بيكون ed ماضي، يعني زي ما احنا شايفين تصريف ثالث بعد الهاد أو تصريف ثالث، يعني بعد الهاد نستخدم ed إذا منتظم أو تصريف ثالث إذا غير منتظم. Let's get this is a very important tip. انتبهوا معي كويس. هلا احنا عندنا auxiliary verbs اللي هم verb to be, verb to do, verb to have. When we use them as main verbs يعني هم الفعل الرئيسي في الجملة، بدنا ننتبه انه in the present tense we use the do does in the present tense, the did for the past tense. with the past perfect مش قلنا بدنا had، فالتصريف الثالث منهم done so had done تمام. يعني example I had done my job, I had done my homework. طيب what about verb to be? In the present tense we use am is are. I am a teacher, you are a student, he's a doctor. In the past tense was and were. هلا in the past perfect we use had and been, and some people pronounce it as had been تمام. فالتصريف الثالث منهم been ماشي. Let's consider verb to have. Has and have in the present tense, like he has a car, I have a book. In the past tense اللي هو التصريف الثاني اللي هو had. هلا في past perfect we need auxiliary verb اللي هو had نفسها. هلا التصريف الثالث من هدول هو had, so it will be had. I had a car, I had a shower تمام. هذا الكلام كثير مهم حبايبي، لا ننسى ونكتبه عنا على الدفتر تمام. طيب هون let's go to the exploit area. By the time you arrived at school this morning, which of these things had you done? Write sentences. Again, you arrived at school this morning. We want to talk about things you had done. هننسى. يعني example I have a shower. نكون عليها جملة نقول I had a shower صح؟ مش قلنا بدنا auxiliary verb وبدنا المين verb. I had a shower. In the negative form we say I hadn't had a shower. طيب تعالوا نكون على الجملة اللي بعديها. I have a breakfast. حبايبي تقدر توقف الفيديو تكتب جملك الخاصة فيك وانك انت قادر تكون جمل. So my sentences are I have a breakfast بتصير I had a breakfast. I watch يعني watch TV بتصير I watched TV. Finish all your homework we will say I had finished all my homework. I had finished all my homework. Send an email بتصير I had sent هاي بتصير T. I had sent an email. طيب make a phone call بتصير I had made a phone call. التصريف الثالث منها made تمام. طيب now let's move to exercise 2. Complete the text with the past perfect ماضي تام from the verbs in the brackets. طيب let's look at this text here. But before we start, I want to draw your attention to joyriders. What do we mean by saying joyriders? Joyriders are those who drive fast and dangerously for pleasure, especially if they have a stolen car. تمام. So let's read the text, and I want to remind you again, we need to use the past perfect forms of the verbs. طيب. Yesterday afternoon, Australian police لاحقت two joyriders in a stolen car for 600 kilometers. Earlier in the day, the joyriders steal. هلا الباست perfect من steal بتصير had والتصريف الثالث منها stolen. The joyriders had stolen a car in Adelaide, and هلا بدنا هون كمان past perfect بصير had والتصريف هذا منتظم طبعا بنحط له ed. had stopped for petrol at Wirrallah, but they not pay for بتصير had not paid for the petrol, and the owner of the petrol station called the police. The police chased the stolen car, but it was too fast for them. They eventually caught up with it 3 hours later. The joyriders run out of يعني نفذ منهم البترول أو البنزين, so had run out of fuel. Earlier, the police realized, so the police had realized, since it had a regular verb, that they couldn't keep up with the stolen car. So they order فعل منتظم regular verb, had ordered all petrol stations in the area to close. Okay, my dear students. Now, I need you to write your own sentences. تكتب أنت أفكارك الخاصة, your own ideas. I want you to compose your own sentences, your own ideas. Like this example, I was upset because I had failed the exam. يعني أنا كنت زعلان لأنه قبل هيك. لا ننسى أنه الماضي التام هو قبل. I was upset because I had failed the exam. وهون we have like 4 other examples. I need you to do that in your notebook and send me those sentences. تمام؟ طيب. Now حبايبي, let's move to page 70 in our workbook. تمام. Let's look at Lucy timetable or her schedule in American accent. الجدول تبعها يعني. Look at the list of the times and actions. Then write sentences using the past perfect, positive or negative, يعني يا مثبت يا منفية. هلا Lucy yesterday morning شو صار معها؟ At 7:15 got up, 7:30 had a shower, at 8 o'clock had breakfast, 8:15 phoned Sarah, 8:20 left home, 8:30 arrived at the bus stop, 8:35 caught the bus, 5 to 9 يعني 9 ل 5 arrived at school, at 9 o'clock began classes, و 11:15 finished homework during break. So when Lucy had breakfast, هلا انتبه للتوقيت الزمني. When Lucy had breakfast, she hadn't phoned Sarah. At that time, she hadn't phoned Sarah. تمام؟ طيب. Number 2. When Lucy had breakfast, she have a shower. يعني قبلها كانت ماخذة shower. فشو بنحكي هون؟ She had a shower. طيب. Number 3. At 8:32 يعني بعد هذا الوقت بدقيقتين arrived the bus. So had arrived the bus at 8:32. انتبهوا للوقت. طيب. At 8:45 يعني at this time here, Lucy arrived at school. Had she arrived? Yes, she hadn't arrived. Okay, الأفضل نحكي no, she hadn't arrived. طيب. 5. At 9:10 or 9:10, she had begun classes. طيب. هلا let's consider the last situation. When Lucy began classes, she finished her homework or not? When she began the classes, had she finished or not? Actually, she hadn't. Okay. طيب. Now let's move to the second exercise. Write sentences about yourself. هلا بدك برضه تكتب هون جمل عن نفسك. At 8:30 or half past 8 yesterday morning يعني امبارح الساعة 8 ونص الصبح. لا ننسى we need to use past perfect whether they are positive or negative. By 8:30 in the morning I had woken up. Woken. So I need you, my dear students, to write your own sentences again about what had you done yesterday at 8:30 in the morning. So this would be another task to write it down in your notebook. Right. Now let's consider the third exercise. Complete the sentences. Use the past simple for one gap and the past perfect for another. And we need to consider which one happened before the other or after the other. لا ننسى في الماضي عندنا زمنين واحد قبل الثاني. So which one had happened before, which one happened after. When I got home, burglars had stolen my bike. So let's consider the second situation. I look out of the window, somebody spray graffiti on our car. So I looked out of the window, طلعت من الشباك انه كان في حدا خلص راشش عامل الوان على السيارة اللي هو الرسومات هاي. تمام. 3 اللي هي هون قلنا had sprayed. Everybody leave by the time I arrive at the party. في الوقت اللي أنا وصلت فيه كانوا الناس مغادرين، فبالتالي بتصير هون everybody had left by the time I arrived at the party. Number 4. I not have any pizza because my brother eat it. كان أخوي already مخلص مع كلهم من قبل، فبتصير didn't have وهون had eaten. Number 5. My uncle look different. He grew a beard اللي هي لحية. So he looked different because or he had grown a beard. Okay. Or beard. Number 6. The purpose take my friend's mobile so he borrow mine. So they had taken my friend's phone so he borrowed mine. Right. Now exercise 4, this one. Put the verbs in the correct tense. حط الأفعال بالزمن صحيح. Past simple or past perfect. طيب. Look at this picture and this boy and he's trying to open the door. He looks scared. So I was in a bad mood already that evening because nobody had remembered my birthday. And then as I walked up to the door of my house at this moment, I have a strange feeling that something was wrong. So he had a strange feeling. In the past tense, we changed the can into could. So I could see a light under the door. But I was sure قبل هيك I hadn't left the lights on that morning. كمان I put the key into the lock. حطيت المفتاح بالقفل and opened the door. I want to draw your attention. We use and to use two different same items. Like here we use simple past or two nouns or two adjectives or whatever. Then I heard some noise. I heard some noise. Now he's asking himself a question. Had I forgotten to turn off the radio too? I was getting very frightened. Perhaps there was a burglar in the flat. كان في حرامي جوا الشقة. Suddenly someone shouted, "Surprise! It was my brother and sister. They had arrived earlier and let themselves in. on the table there were some present. يعني كان جايبين له هدايا وعاملين له مفاجأة for me and a cake. They hadn't forgotten my birthday after all. طيب هلا let's move to the last exercise حبايبي اللي هو التشالنج. طبعا هو مطلوب منك to tick حط صح يعني the things you had done before you were 8 years old. Then write true sentences. يعني راح تكتب عن حالك شغلات عملتها لما كان عمرك 8 سنين. يعني which is past perfect مسميه الماضي البعيد اللي حكينا عنه من أول حصة. Add 4 more ideas, 2 positive and 2 negatives. هلا أنت بدك تكتب هاي الجمل عن حالك. مثلا had you used a computer? Yes or no? You need to write a sentence about that. Had you visited the UK? Learn to swim, study English, watch a horror film, cook dinner for my family. واكتب هاي الجمل اللي هي عن نفسك. كان معكم طبعا الأستاذ ماهر أبو سرحان، وبتمنى تكون يعني كان الدرس مفيد إن شاء الله. وكمان إذا في عندكم ريفيوز أو ملاحظات خليكم معنا على قناتنا رياض ومدارس جامعة الزرقاء على اليوتيوب أو على الفيسبوك أو على صفحتي الشخصية، وجروب الصف الثامن على الماسنجر. وإن شاء الله نضل على التواصل باستمرار، ويعطيكم العافية والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.